Hello and welcome everybody to Bones and Belongings number 7. What a week. What a week. So much excitement. I kind of knew this week would be interesting with the card we had from Isis last week about the truths revealed. Here it is. Here she is. So the real truths revealed. So we had spring equinox this week at the beginning of the week, and the real time where there is balance, the balancing of the night and the day hours. So this real harmony and balance. And literally the energy went completely out of everything, all the projects. I made a list of all the things that I was waiting to happen. So I'm not going to tell you what they were because some of them are all private, but so many things we were waiting for to happen as a family or in Rays or projects. Everything just went quiet, and all my cards were like deep rest, like motionless, kind of resting. And I thought, right, okay, let's just forget about trying to do anything, because everything I was trying to do was just being pushed back against. So I went out for the day with my husband, which was lovely. But yeah, it was a strange time, that actual spring equinox. So the 20th, 21st of March. And actually, I've just seen something which I hadn't put on my list to record, but I'm going to record it here because it was unusual. So it was Mothering Sunday in the UK on the 19th of March. And I was actually having a dream. I think I'd been awake quite a lot in the night, but I actually got woken up. My husband woke me up, and I woke up from a dream. And in it, I was doing a piece to film like I do here now. But when I played it back, it wasn't what I'd recorded at all. It was something completely different. And then I was also traveling. I was in a sort of desert place, and I was traveling with Grant, with my husband, and with some people from Rays, or like our inner team. And we were on tour in this sort of desert area, but there were these weird carved big animals, one particularly being an ostrich. I remember going, oh my God, that's an ostrich. But there was also a buffalo, and there was a sort of dinosaur looking thing as well. Yeah, so there was a lot. It was all about travel. So we were definitely moving and about broadening our horizons and big changes coming. So that was the lucid I had. It was a lucid dream, really. It was so real. And then my husband woke me up, which doesn't normally happen. And I'm like, oh, and it took me about 10 minutes to kind of come round. I was sort of lying down for about 10 minutes, kind of thinking, that was so real, but I am back in my body now. I think that's what happens when you wake up. You're woken up from a lucid dream, and it's so. I felt like I was in two different places. So I have to record that for this film, because everything that's happening, I'm just recording, and it might not make sense at this moment. Nothing normally does, actually, but later on, when we look back at these films, we're going to see things that have been building, and they happen. So a tour. I don't know if it was America. I'm not sure. It just felt very, very different traveling from where we are. Anyway, then moving forward a few days, we had this complete stillness. It was like a rebalancing, a resetting. And I thought, oh, okay, I know enough now that when I get a quiet day, I need to take it off, because the quiet day precedes a very busy time, and that's exactly what's happened. I don't really know where so the truths revealed have been on many layers this week. So I guess one of the main ways they've shown itself is in me actually speaking about what we do more publicly to more people. So for example, people who I wanted to tell what I do, because they have a line of work that is in a spiritual line of work, but more a religious line of work, shall we say. And I've always felt an affinity to them, that we kind of work in the similar area, but I didn't know how to approach it. Anyway, this week I was literally at an evening reception, which I don't normally do. This is not what I normally do. It was actually in the Brighton Pavilion, which is an amazing pavilion built by George the Third, I'm thinking. Could have that wrong. And he built it as like sort of pleasure palace by the seaside. And it's an incredible building. And we were in the reception, one of the main reception rooms, which had dragons in the ceiling and Chinese motifs all round. But yeah, these dragons and these phoenixes, it's an incredible building if you get to go and see it. But I had a very interesting conversation with somebody from my village, actually. And they want to know more about my work, and there could be a synergy within the work, which was very exciting. So branching out, sort of telling truths being revealed to people about what we do in Raise and what I do. I mean, not many people actually know what I do that I connect with on a daily basis. Obviously outside everyone I know from Raise. There was also this feeling that I had to be truthful with myself about what I really wanted to feel. And that's freedom. And being unchained from a lot of the sort of, I was going to say sort of domestic duties and things. And just being excited about travel and like finally things manifesting around the bones and the belongings, Chris's bones and belongings, and just what we do, and just really expanding that rescue work outwards. So yeah, there was really, what do I want? What are my truths? So what do I want? And also truths, like sharing our truths with other people. We've also had some really interesting conversations within our Raise live stream, which we have every Wednesdays. When you're in Raise, you can come and interact with me every Wednesdays. And there was a lot about how full honesty and clear communication is the most important thing alongside love, like unconditional love, and how anything can be transformed through that honesty, clear communication, and the unconditional love. And it showed itself massively in our rescue circle this week, which we do on Wednesday evenings. We are a core team. We call ourselves the Raise Rebirthers, because we're essentially rebirthing. And I think this is one of the truths that were revealed this week. The size of the number of stuck spirits that we deal with every week, it's in the thousands. Literally this week we've had a sudden, I guess because I'm being honest about it and I'm speaking about it now on YouTube, word is getting round about what we do in the spirit world, in the earthbound spirits, because they're on a very similar vibration to us still. They haven't ascended into the light, so they, like, word is getting round and we are getting let's just say at the moment the word is spreading. And I want to give you some of the comments that I was given, as we have a mass release first of spirits, so I can feel them there, because I actually have to sit back in my chair as the energy rushes through in front of me and up the channel. And we never have a sort of direct interaction, but I know they're there and they're ready and they're releasing. And one of our ladies uses the pendulum, and that she gets spelt out spelt out the number of spirits that are releasing en masse, and we're in the thousands now each time, many multiple thousands. But after the mass release is gone, we get the it's almost like the spokespeople for certain clusters of souls that have come through, who are either died in the same way, they have the same illnesses, sometimes they have causes that they've been fighting for in life, similar themes in their lives. Well, I don't want to give too much away, because obviously what is in the circle is in fact, this week there was quite a lot of secrecy. They didn't want to tell us quite a lot of their stories, and I completely understand why, because we did know the theme of them. Their stories are still very much affected by there are lots of, they're complex stories, and there are people still alive connected to their lives and their stories, so they didn't want to share. But I want to just share some of the words that they gave us to describe their experience of being within our rescue circle. There were things like they actually said there's going to be more of us, because it almost felt like a lot of spirits have been checking us out. It's like, is this real? They're very aware that it's a safe and secure place, and it's like they've never felt safe and secure in their lives, especially around their deaths, and when they've been in this earthbound state, to find our circle, because we light it up we have a lighthouse and we light it up every week, and it's obviously a regular thing. They're getting to know it's a regular thing, and they've never felt safe and secure, but when they come into the lighthouse, when they come into our area, that's what they feel. One person said, if heaven is like this, I'm going. So he went up, and there was like, this is so insane, and like, is this real? There's just like really unbelievable feedback we're getting. And someone said this should be on the national news, because the amount of release and what they were being released from their experiences in life. We get a lot of spirits who disbelieve that we're actually offering them love and compassion and a pathway into the light, and that they're being welcomed. Like they will often say, I've been a bad person, I've done bad things in my life. But the thing is, if that happens, and there's guilt, there's shame, there's grief, you can't heal on that level. You can't heal on the earthbound level. Like, the only way you can heal is to be on the spiritual side, and to be released. And then when you move on up, when you ascend, that's when you do your life review, when you can have the healing, you can have the understanding and the forgiveness, and you recycle, and you do your learning. But you can't do that when you're stuck as a spirit. And we have a lot of spirits who feel very unworthy of moving on up. Yeah, so it was just so interesting. The truth of the size of the numbers that we're attracting, almost like the truths revealed was like the feedback we're getting from these spirits, who are just really quite unbelieving of what the opportunity that they're being given through moving into the light, where they never thought. I had one really emotional. I can say the really emotional one. So this spirit actually came back out of the lighthouse, having picked up. We leave I don't know, I need to say that, but he came back out of the lighthouse in tears, and he gave me the tears. I was feeling his tears, and he was just saying thank you so much for, he never thought this was possible. It was really emotional. We were like, all of us there were really touched by his emotion, and the fact that he never thought he could feel this complete again. He just never thought that was going to be possible. And he actually gave us a gift. So obviously spirits can't give us money exchange for this work. And yeah, if you're listening and you've got some money that you'd like to help us with, because we would love to be expanding this work, and to be doing this all full time, not just in our, there's the need for it to be a lot more expanded, the work. But yeah, he gave us a gift, and he held my hands, and I could feel him passing to me energy. I'm not going to go into what it was or how it felt, but there's an energetic exchange in their release back to us. And I do feel that like all the spirits that we're supporting, when they go up, they can then lots of lovely things are happening to us in rays, not just for ourselves, but our families and those that are connected to us. And it's just getting bigger and bigger, the effect we're having. What else do I need to say? Yeah, there's just seems to be this big alignment coming in for like things that Chris and I have been because Chris and I obviously set up Rays, and we've been doing it for at least 2 years, and it's always been us sort of holding the space with anybody that wanted to come in. And it was originally about grief healing, but since we've kind of definitely moved into the stuck spirits, which is what Chris was, I mean, that's why we do this work. He was earthbound, having been drowned unconscious, so he didn't even know he was dead. He was we have quite a few of those spirits who come in, and they're like completely lost and disorientated, and like in the darkness, and like they can't find anyone. They're not it's not distress. They're not distressed, but it's just like confusing. And it's when they see our light, the relief. And but they don't. We have to then work out if they know they're dead or not. And if they don't know they're dead, we have to pass on that truth to them. I guess their truth is revealed. So that's what we had to do with Chris. We actually had to tell him. I had to tell him when I'd found out that he was dead. He was not alive. And that's what a truth to have to tell somebody. But that truth gives them freedom, because then they're like, like Chris was like, I understand what's been going on and why I've been feeling this way. So they get taken up into the light. And Chris is always great with children. We get so we usually have the masses go through. And then this week we had an incredible man, and we could all picture him, and he stayed around to the end. He looked like he said appearances are deceptive. He almost looked like Hagrid off Harry Potter. And he went around and collected all the young children, the small spirits, that disabled, wounded sort of spirits who were quiet and more timid. And he kind of went around and scooped them all up, and then they all went up together. And it was so beautiful. So I don't know if anyone's listening to this and they're thinking, oh my God, I feel like I'm a rescue medium. I would love to be doing this work. This is where I feel like I'm being drawn. Please come into Rays. Please join us. Because this work, seriously, is incredible. It brings so much happiness and contentment and joy. And it's not a frightening, like we do it very safely. We have massive protection. We have rules of engagement. It's a beautiful thing. And all our Rays rebirthers are balanced. We take everybody through an initiation. Not everyone gets to come into the inner circle to do the work. But that's what makes it so beautiful, is that, like, love, the unconditional love, that's all that spirit need. That's all we need. We need that connection. So yeah, so if you are thinking, oh, that sounds like me, I could be in that circle, we are yesterday, 23rd, of March was the 20th anniversary of Christian's last physical communication with us as a family. He was just outside Quito in Mali. Actually, I say just outside, but I think he must have been quite far out from Quito in Mali. And he found a shack with a table in it, and on it was a telephone. And he thought, oh, this is strange. This can't be working, because nothing else had ever worked. Anyway, this telephone, he got a dialing tone on this telephone, and it was a few days before Mum and Dad's birthday, so he phoned them up. He took the opportunity to phone them up, and they had a quite short conversation, because obviously, money wise of the call, but yeah, so that was the last phone conversation that Mum and Dad had with Christian. So to mark that 20 years, we announced an initiative yesterday to recruit more Raise rebirthers to be in these rescue circles with us, because the need is so huge, and it is such a like, seriously, it's a joyous thing to do. So yes, that's the kind of like a truth revealed in the numbers that were there, and the fact that we need more of us. So if you are watching and you're thinking, yeah, that could be me, come and have a chat. We're actually having a discovery call, I think we're going to call it, like a Zoom event where you can just come in, and we're going to do, like, we can just discuss. We'll introduce ourselves. Some of the team will be with me. We'll just sort of tell you about Raise, tell you a bit about the circles, and a bit about the sort of initiation and training into it. So if anybody's interested in that, just please come into Raise, join us, and then join us on a discovery call. There's no pressure, obviously. It's just a discovery call. See what you think. So that was our initiative that's also been launched. And then the other truths that have been revealed is how big our work as Raise is going to be. I need to explain, Raise was actually Christian's computer password when he was alive. And I asked him once, why do you use Raise? That's like a weird computer password. And he just said, well, it's better to live life raised up than living it down low. And how prophetic, is that the word? Because how his life turned out, yeah, it is much better to be living up high than down low, earthbound and stuck. So we've kept Raise, and that's where the name Raise comes from. It's nothing more than that. And Chris was really into his graffiti, and the Raise, the typography, that is Chris's graffiti, where he's written Raise. So there you go, if you didn't know that. But yeah, we're realizing how massive our work is going to be in Raise. So we have the three arms of it. We have the supporting side, which is supporting rescue mediums in waiting to become Raise rebirthers. We also have the rescue side, which is, I've kind of talked about quite a lot today. And then there's the education side, because people need to know about this stuff. It affects, so with the education side of this, I've had an awful lot of information come through in the last couple of days about a book, a film, or documentary, like a series documentary, where each program in the series is based on one of our Raise rebirthers and their story about how they got into this work, their personal connections, their soul contracts, the spirits that come into the circle, all the stories that are that surround each Raise rebirther. That's how it's coming through. And the book is really going to be about we get a lot of spirits who are really curious about us, about what we do, and they literally come and watch on the sidelines and are like, what's going on here? What is the process? What does this allow me to do? Like, what is this? And it's almost like readers of our book they are the same as the spirits. It's like, what do you do? What implications does this have for us? Like, why is this important? So it's sort of telling personal stories, but also answering the sort of questions that we get from stuck spirits. Yeah, it's and also like the implications of these stuck spirits for us in the physical. Like what do these stuck spirits mean? Why are they so important to us? Like, I can like tell you they are hugely important because they interact with us all the time, and even if you're not aware of them, their energy, you'll be feeling their energy. Yes, there's a big problem. Stuck spirits is a massive problem, and again, that is another truth that's being revealed about how big a problem they are, what fear they're causing, how they're interacting with everybody, and how stuck spirits who are holding on to a lot of trauma or grief or shame or whatever, like, it affects 7 generations back and 7 generations forward if they're stuck here, just not recycling and healing and moving into the light. I can't even begin to tell you the importance of moving on stuck spirits. And we in Raise, we are clearing up the energy of humanity. And that was a big truth revealed today, this week. Really, I always knew we were doing big work, but I didn't really realize the full extent of it and how big it will be. So yeah, there's a book which is educating everybody, because everyone's going to die. You're not going to escape that. And we have spirits who get stuck because they wanted more time. No. You have to keep when your time is up, your time is up. That is your allotted time in this life. You can come back in the next life. We have multiple lives, but for this one, you have to go up. Or you can stay stuck, but you're going to stay stuck and stuck and stuck. You're not going to come back to life. And I laugh because like these circles that we do, there is a big element of laughter and humor in there, and a dark humor as well. There's some dark. I was saying to somebody today, stuck spirits are just like us. They just don't have a body. Like, we're all the same. So it's like interacting just with people. So yeah, you can imagine we get all sorts coming through. And there's so much fear, there's so much anxiety, there's a lot of hate in the world, and I just think clearing up the stuck spirits is going to make such a huge difference to our lives that we're physically living. Seriously. And I think this needs to be explained to people. I certainly knew nothing about them before Christian. Absolutely knew nothing. I was totally oblivious. But now I can see it all, and I feel it, and I hear it. But not only when I'm in circle. I close the door. Otherwise, I would. Yeah, I have not closed the door before or had protection, and it's not a good place to be in when spirits start talking to you. And you don't know what they're doing. You don't know who they are, what's happening. But obviously, in the rebirthers, we have an extremely we run a tight ship, a loving ship, but a tight ship in terms of what we will tolerate and when we're on and when we're offline. Yeah, so there's the book, there's the sort of documentary film, I guess, series, and then also live events that came through this week. That's another truth revealed. We have a lot of we call them sort of soul clusters. So Chris had, just to explain that quickly, when Chris realized that he was dead, and we'd worked through his grief and my grief, all of our griefs and fear, when he moved up into the light, he then was attracting a lot of other. He hadn't actually moved up to the light, because he was still here, attracting others to him. So others who were young, who maybe had died at the hands of others, there were suicides, we had all sort of similar drownings, sort of similar deaths and similar situations to Chris, and they had all kind of come together in a soul cluster. So they had a theme that was going on, and it came through this week about so I talked last week, I think, about a film that's on Disney Plus at the moment called Finding Michael. It's about Spencer Matthews, who was a reality TV show star, and his brother Michael went missing on Everest, and the family were I haven't actually seen the film because we don't have Disney Plus, but I read an article about it. But the family had been given a heads up by somebody who'd been climbing on Everest that they thought they had identified Michael's body, because these bodies on Everest are just on the mountain, they're not removed. And when they came down from the mountain, they got in touch with the Matthews family, and yeah, they made this documentary with taking a Sherpa up to try and rescue Michael's body off the mountain. So there was that came into my view, and I'd also heard about a lady who'd written a memoir about her missing sister, and it was called The Perfect Other. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but it was another missing sibling. So that soul cluster, to me and for spirits, is like the missing siblings cluster, and it felt to me like we were going to. So our rescue circles are private. They're not televised. They're not. You can't come in and watch us do them, because they feel a lot more sort of general. So we get all sorts of spirits coming in. They'll come in clumps. But they won't necessarily be. Some of them are attached to us personally. So there's a sort of soul contract that we will be the ones to release them. So Chris and I had, for example, had a soul contract that at some point I would be his rescuer, or his releaser, his rebirther. So some of those spirits that come in the circle, they are directly related to us as rebirthers, and that was part of our contract. But it does feel like we are going to be doing events in public where the audience are connected to the stuck spirits. So, for example, if we did one with missing siblings, anybody who has a missing sibling, is connected to a missing sibling, feels they have a soul contract somehow, or a soul connection with a missing sibling, that they would come to the event, and us as raised rebirthers would hold a rescue circle, and there would be an exchange of energy between the audience and the spirits as they get released. So there would be I don't want to get into too much detail, but it would be an incredible event to be part of, and incredibly healing and joyful, actually, in terms of a release. So anyway, also that was an example, missing siblings, but the idea that we would be doing these events in public, they would be ticketed events, and I guess as a way probably to raise money to finance the private rescues. I don't know. Somehow it's working. But it just seems like the bigger picture has suddenly come into view, the bigger perspective of our work. And yeah, the size of the work that we're going to be doing, and all the resources. Actually, that also came through. The truth is that within Raise, within us as a group, the amount of resources and knowledge and gifts, we all have different abilities or different ways of connecting with spirit. We are interested in different aspects of death, afterlife, just spirit in general. Some of us are very active with animals, with animal releases. Some of us are very connected to ancestral releases. So yeah, there's all sorts of different ways. So the knowledge and the like the growth potential, I guess, within Raise, within us as a group is just massive. So lots of truths this week. So I wonder what truths were revealed to you this week. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. I don't know. Maybe even you listening to this, you're kind of thinking, "Oh my God, I could be a Raise rebirth, and maybe that's my soul contract with Hannah. Like maybe I'm part of the soul family. Maybe that's what I'm here to do." A lot of people come into Raise. They've been watching these films on YouTube, and they come into Raise, and they're like, I've got no idea why I'm here, but I just saw a film. I've got no idea why that film is even on my recommended list, but it just came up, so I watched it. And as I watched, I was like, "Oh my God, what is this? This is so interesting." They just kind of follow the signs and come into Raise with some people without even knowing why. And it's just like, well, you will know why, because you will find out. And actually, somebody who came in going, I've got no idea why I'm here, she's actually going to join us on the discovery call. So yeah, we'll see. And I also finally had my third attunement to the Sekhem energy, which is like the heart, love, healing energy. There's a lady in South Africa who I do the attunements with, and she when I do the attunements, I don't really feel very much. So it's Reiki energy, or it's a form of Reiki, all done through energy, and I don't feel it really happening, anything really happening. But the lady who does the attunement, she said this time it was the most amazing attunement she's ever done. The size of the energy channel, the way it reaches right from the center of the earth right up to the sun. She said it's vast, and she said the truth I got from her actually was that what's going to happen to Raise and to myself and Chris and all those who are associated with Raise is that we can't mentally even imagine how this is all going to happen, how big this work is going to be, that like we literally don't have the capacity to imagine it yet, but it's all happening, and it's kind of like being taken out of our hands. It's happening. She showed me, I don't want to give too much information away, obviously, because I have to keep some things private, but she was everything that we've ever kind of been working towards, it's going to be more expansive than we ever thought possible. And it's happening, like it started. And I could see from particularly this week's rescue circle, that, oh my God. And the excitement in spirit is huge. And these earthbound spirits, they can't believe it either, that they've got this opportunity, that we're providing this opportunity. And to be honest, when I think back 20 years ago, when we got that last phone call from Chris, I said to somebody this morning, I couldn't have even imagined in 20 years' time what him going missing, or him becoming earthbound, what that would lead to. How just our little personal story between two siblings, 14 months apart, like how our little story, our tiny story, would be impacting humanity, I'm even going to say. as I gulp. That's giving me the shakes. So yeah, so that's the attunement is now done. It felt like there were 3 and they are now done. So, and as for Chris's bones and belongings, I still have to leave those to, actually, when we were talking about the Finding Michael film, and somebody had been saying about somebody in just coming to tell the family, look, I've found this, I don't know if this might be you. And actually, oh my god, one thing I need to record about that is in the circle, one of the Ray's rebirthers, she actually had her purse stolen. Like, it actually happened this week, and her purse actually got returned to her because she had a card in it, which identified her, and the purse came back to her. And as she was telling us that story, because we always have a little chat obviously before we start, I just went, oh my god, that's how that's the return, that's the beginning of a return. Like, something is identified, a belonging is identified, something about identity and tracing back to me. So I don't know, I feel that somebody is going to find something that belongs to Chris, and they're going to trace it back to me. Oh, that's giving me the chills. That's what it feels like. Somebody finds something, and it might be they found something for quite a long time ago, but now is the right time to return it or to get in contact. Something else that's just sprung to mind. Our dogs have, so this is a bit random, but our dogs have name tags on their collars. I was going to say necklaces, on their collars. And our puppy lost his keyring, identity marker disc, and somebody in the village picked it up. We never thought we would find it again. I mean, it's a small sort of disc, and she found it in the village. I think it was in one of the fields. She literally looked down and was like, oh, and found it. Anyway, she put it on her kitchen table. And this was like months ago. This was probably at least 6 weeks ago. And I haven't seen her since. And she said, oh my God, I need to put it into my pocket so that I can actually return it to you. It's just sitting on my table. I haven't done anything with it. And she only lives, at the other end of the village. So she could just come and drop it on my doorstep or something. But she hasn't. And it's still sitting in her kitchen. And it just hasn't been the right time. And I haven't seen her again. And I could go and collect it, I guess. But actually, I'm just thinking now, that could be what's happened. Somebody could have got Chris's stuff already, and it's just sitting there, and nothing's been done with it. So now, come on, let's get this identification and things being returned. Let's do it. It feels like we're ready. All the foundations are in place. Okay. I hope you're if you're watching this, I hope you're with me still, because sorry, these are a bit rambly. I appreciate that, but it's recording stuff. I feel it's so important to record things. Okay, so Isis, this is who we're working with. Amazing. And Isis and Sekhmet, who's also connected. Well, they're Egyptian goddesses who Sekhmet has the lion energy with her, and Isis is the finder of lost things. She gave me the title of finder of lost things, as she was, because she was collecting her missing brothers' parts and bringing them back together. So anyway, Isis, I'm I'm using her cards. She's throwing them around, but too many to pick out one. So yes, thank you, Isis, for your truths revealed last week. And let's see what we get this week. And this is for all of you watching as well, so. Miracle of Isis. Miraculous healing of the goddess. Oh my goodness. Well, look, there's Isis and there's Osiris. That's her brother, who became her husband. He's the god of the underworld. Oh, I feel a bit. Ugh. Okay, I'm just going to read the front bit here. Okay, Isis was known as a talented practitioner of the healing arts and was capable of miraculous healing. For you, beloved, she offers a miracle healing. No matter how much you have struggled with a particular matter, no matter how impossible it may seem to imagine your life without this old wound, addiction, problem, relationship issue, or inner struggle being a part of it, you are guided now to accept the possibility of miraculous healing, to let go and let the goddess be. I'll just read this bit. This oracle is so yeah, that's the kind of healing, but it's also an indication that a spiritual gift or awakening of deep healing ability at a new level are coming your way. Dedicate your work to divine love and trust that it will flow through you stronger now. Well, that kind of makes sense. Okay, well, miracles are going to happen next week. Oh my goodness, this is exciting. So I don't know. Like this video, subscribe, pass it on, tell your friends. I'm hoping this is entertaining and in some way and probably intriguing. And I was saying to somebody, I joined a new group this morning. It was a writing clinic, actually. And I sort of told people I'd been writing for years, and then my brother went missing. And now how writing it's I need to write every day, otherwise it's a real release for me. But I was telling people what I do. I mean, I'm now so honest about what I do, and everyone was absolutely amazed and so interested. And the feedback I'm getting now, I'm talking about it openly and not worrying what people are thinking, just everybody is so curious about it, and they're like the stuck spirits, that whole curiosity around what we do. So I'm hoping you're getting something out of these films, even if it's just entertainment and watching how this is all unfolding. And I hope you're praying for Chris's return of his bones and belongings, because it all helps. All this love helps. It really does. Okay. Thank you very much for listening, and have a lovely week, and I shall see you next Friday. Okay, loads of love. Take care. Bye-bye.